You're at your old trusty boat. You call mighty sparrow. I'm in the city of Mardi Gras.
Welcome to the Sailing into Oblivion podcast, where we hear stories from everyday people who do extraordinary things. I'm your host, Jerome Rand. All right, and we are live here on the Sailing into Oblivion podcast. And today, I have my youngest guest ever. Please welcome, I call him Ishmael, but his name is Isaiah Murphy. Is your last name Murphy?
Yeah, it's Murphy.
It is. All right. He is the oldest son of Thomas Murphy?
Oldest son, but youngest, youngest child. I don't know why I couldn't think
Youngest
of
child. Got it. Oh, okay. So that means you have a sister.
Yeah.
Wow, you're starting out with a riddle. I like it. Well, I'm really glad to have you on the podcast, man.
Of course.
Just to give our listeners a little bit of a background, what sort of spawned this was last night, pretty antsy, a lot of energy, and we decided to go for a bike ride because I needed a few things at the store. And so Ish and I took bikes, and I haven't ridden a bike in probably many years, at least on a little adventure like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was cool, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it today, is, people your age who have grown up from, your whole life, there has always been the internet, there's been computers, and there's been cell phones.
Right, yeah.
And for me, when I was your age, that was what we did for entertainment, was ride bicycles around or
Yeah.
skateboards and things like that. And so it kind of got my brain thinking a little bit as far as wanting to peel back the layers of a teenage American child now. Or not
All right.
child, teenager.
Yeah.
And I don't know, get your opinion on some things, I guess.
All
But we can also talk about pretty much anything and everything you want to as well.
All right.
But maybe just for our listeners, just give us a little background on you, where you're from, where you go to school, stuff like that.
All right. I was born in Ben Bay Hospital in Thomaston. No, Rockport, Maine, not Thomaston.
Ooh, so you're a full-on Mainer.
Yeah, I was born in Maine. I've never lived anywhere other than the state of Maine. But, obviously I've switched towns. But I was born in Rockland. My first house that I've ever lived on was on Otis Street. Yeah, it was in Otis Street in Rockland, Maine. And then my parents, split. And then, we moved to Hartswell. And then we moved to Brunswick. And then we're at Lisbon now. And I live with my mom. So it's we've been 4 total towns, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I go to Lisbon High School in 10th grade.
Nice. Okay.
So, yeah.
So that makes you. Wait, are you going into 10th grade?
Yeah.
So you just finished your freshman year?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was,
You can be honest too, because freshman
was
year is kind of a pain.
It was really bad for me because I was going to Brunswick school since 3rd grade to 8th grade.
Yeah.
And as soon as high school starts, I was all alone. And of course, it was
you
the
switched towns.
Yeah, and it was the pandemic too, so I had to be I was alone for the whole entire year with no friends.
Right.
And it was just so weird because all my friends were in Brunswick.
Yeah.
And I knew nobody from Lisbon.
Well, and you're still able to constantly be in contact with your old
Oh
friends
yeah, of course.
via a cell phone.
Yeah, Snapchat and stuff.
Well, and that's some of the stuff that I mean, obviously we had telephones when I was a kid. I'm not that old, but
Yeah.
it is one of those things where you only spent so much time on the phone because it was a house phone. Your parents had to use it, that sort of stuff. So when we moved, and luckily we stayed in the same town. We just moved into different houses, but that affected being able to hang out with
Oh
friends.
yeah, it really hit me hard because those were the kids I literally grew up with.
Yeah.
I had such a big friend group too since 3rd grade all the way until end of 8th grade. That made me so sad because nobody I knew was from Lisbon at all.
There weren't any cool people?
Weren't
that you
anybody.
got to know?
It was so
Like 0 people?
zero people.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It was so weird.
That sucks.
Because usually, like, I've moved, like, 4 times, I think. And usually, like, when I go to, like, so say I was in, like, Brunswick schools, like, for, like, half a year, and then next half a year, I would be in, like, Topsom schools. I would, like, know, like, a few, like, handful of kids from,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
each schools. But in Lisbon, there was, like, nobody
Right.
that I
right.
knew. So that was, like, really weird, I'd say.
Not a fun thing. But when you go back, you'll be a sophomore. There'll be younger people there, kind of a whole new crowd and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So you got a sort of a different game plan in mind.
Yeah, I feel like since I'm now like been to Lisbon for a year, I feel like I'll have a lot more experience with like the school, and I'll be able to make a lot more friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, and you get the positive attitude. That's good. Not just loathing and like, there's
Yeah.
nobody. I hate it all.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sit on my phone and talk to my old friends.
yeah.
Ah, well, that's cool. And so you went to school there. You're on summer break now. Any
Yeah.
plans for the summer?
Well, today actually, see what time is it? It's like 3:10. So I'm gonna be going to it's my nephew's like dad's house,
Yeah.
because I don't really talk to my sister that much,
Okay.
because like I don't know, she's kind of weird now, but
She might listen to this.
yeah, well, she's still so weird. Like, she's so, like, last time I saw her, I think it was, like, Christmas, and she was, like, so rude to me. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I got it. So now I really love, like, going there and having fun.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then, like, when I go back home, I'm going to, like, start getting better at myself for, like, my physical, like, appearance, because I don't really like my physical appearance. It's not really, like, my favorite, but I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get a better diet. I'm going to work on, like, myself more when I get home and stuff.
Wow.
But, like, so
got some
I have
big
it split in,
plans.
like, 2, like, sections. Like, the end of summer, I'm just going to work on myself and get better, and then the first half, I'm just going to, like, have fun.
Well,
and, like, enjoy
from this
myself.
side of the table, you're a handsome young teenager.
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you.
No, you look great. You got the haircut.
Yeah.
It's looking sharp. Last time you were up here, your hair was down past your shoulders.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you can breathe into the microphone.
Well, yeah. Well,
Piece of cake, bro. No,
I'm just nervous. It's like my first time ever being on a podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, you had mentioned too that you might be interested in sort of starting your own podcast, right?
Well, yeah, I think I'd be interested in starting my own podcast if, like, I could do it like you do it, like, with the locals around town. That would be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. But I watched, like, one podcast, or, like, clips of it, little, like, VODs, I could say, because they're streamed,
Yeah.
like, live, so I just watch VODs of them, and it's, like, the whole thing, but there's, like, it's just, like, it's not actually, like, the introduction, it's just, like, what they talk about and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the podcast is, like, No Jumper, and it's with Adam22, and it's, like, a bunch of, like, rappers, modern day rappers that, like, go on there and talk about, like, everything, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that's sort of the cool thing I found about podcasting is that you can go and sit down and talk to just about anybody about just about anything, and as long as the audio is good, and my thing with this one is that I don't do these interviews over the phone, because that's when all of a sudden the audio is not very good. If the person is sitting there in the room, usually the conversation's better, but the audio quality is 1,000 times better. I can't. Anytime I've ever turned on a podcast and it's a phone interview,
Yeah.
I turn it right off.
Yeah.
So, and it's pretty easy to set up. I mean, you can see it's just these 2 microphones, and I got to stream it through my computer.
Yeah.
And then there are places where you can upload these and stream them for free. So
Oh, yeah.
it's not too bad.
Not bad.
What would your podcast be based around? Just around like the fishermen, the lobstermen,
I feel like it would be around,
the
like,
yard monkeys like me?
the yard dogs, yeah. Something like that, like, people's lives and how they, like, fish and stuff, because, like, I've learned a lot about fishing, like, lobstering and fishing,
Yeah.
but, like, I want to learn about, like, sword fishing and, like, scalloping more and, like, crabbing, but, like, all those are, like, in the same category, but they're so much different.
Right.
'Cause,
Well,
like-
yeah, I mean, if you're a sword boat guy, you're going up to the Grand Banks and
Right. It's like such big waters. Like, there's a movie, and it's called A Perfect Storm, I think.
Oh yeah,
And it's just
I know it
based
well.
on, like, it's such a good movie.
Well, I'll tell you what. With that one, you ought to read the book by
Yeah,
Sebastian
the book.
Junger.
I wanna read the book.
Well, it gives a huge amount of information about the history
Oh,
of
yeah.
sword fishing, and yeah, it's pretty incredible. I had no idea the depth of what it's like to actually fish for those things. They're
Oh yeah,
terrifying fish.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. And your old man, obviously, scalloper, lobster, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And with him, being here at the yard, you've got all the connections you could ever want.
Oh, like I have like so many options. I could talk to Heath about it, Matt, anybody pretty much.
Yeah, all those guys. And you've got the ultimate in because you're Murphy's son.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. But, at the same time, you always got to remember you actually have to get out there and do it.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
when I see you up here, what do I see?
Just messing around.
What do you normally do while you're here?
I just sit on my phone.
Sit on your phone. What's your screen time? What's your screen time?
Let me just check real quick.
Let's just check that out real quick, bud.
Settings.
Oh, yeah. Settings. What do we got? This is going to be pretty mind-blowing, folks.
Screen time. Daily average 10 hours and 12 minutes.
10 hours and 12 minutes. That is very close to 50% of a 24-hour day.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would say if and I'm not one for giving advice that's not asked for, but I would say the first thing you'd want to do is spend those 10 hours
On a boat.
on a boat
working.
working on it or doing anything to learn stuff about it, because this is such a valuable time in your life where you don't have a huge amount of responsibilities,
Right.
and so you can go and commit all this time to things like that you just, even if you just have like the smallest idea that you might want to be a fisherman or you might want to be a plumber or
Yeah.
any of these things, you can say, well, you know what, for the next couple of weeks I'm just going to dive right into that.
Yeah.
But it takes dropping that little cube device over there
Yeah,
called a cell phone. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty hard because I've been on I enjoy lobstering because it's like in my family.
Yeah.
Like it's just huge in my family. So I'm like, I've been on one trip I think, and it was with my uncle,
Yeah.
and it was just like, it was a good experience. It's just like there's so many like bad things about it. It's just like the fiberglass boat on my arms. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
hate fiberglass on my arms.
Fiberglass is rough.
The smell of bait all day and just
What
like
do they use for bait?
I have no idea. I have no
Like
idea.
halibut or something? No, it wouldn't be halibut, would it? But
I-
it's like rotten fish.
It's so gross and like
Stinks.
it's just like so sweaty all day.
Yeah. So what?
Waking up so early. It's just there's so many bad things about it, but it's like so like I just want to be a
It was fun to
lobsterman.
be out there, wasn't
It's
it?
so fun.
How
yeah.
much money did you make
I made I think I made $100 for one day.
for one day?
Yeah.
As sort of the deck swab,
Right.
basically.
I didn't really do much. I just banded and put the bait
Okay.
in the bags.
How many people were on the boat?
It was 3 including me. So it was my
Okay.
uncle, and then my uncle, and then his father,
Yeah.
and then it was just me. So it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, when Heath gets his boat in the water, will he ever take you out on that?
I
you
feel
think?
like he would,
Yeah.
but I'd really have to like sit down and talk to him about it.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Heath is one of those guys that he's not just gonna pick up anybody.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. But like me being his like best friend in the whole world's son,
Yeah.
I feel like he would like definitely put me on the
Right. Well, and part of that is that he's not just thinking of himself because he's got his 2 permanent crew.
right. Yeah.
And he knows that, when you take extra people on, sometimes that can slow things down just a little.
yeah.
And even though, that's sort of what's necessary for you to learn, if it's affecting his employees' bottom line, he has to really consider that.
Exactly.
Like,
I don't really like want to put him back in money too. Like I don't want to like make him lose money because I'm obviously not going to be as fast as the other people
Right,
because
right.
I haven't had nearly as much experience as them.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of the things that definitely comes to mind, though, is, if there are little things that you can help out with, like when they are getting ready to head out, when time is not quite of the essence, and when they're heading back in after they've caught all the lobsters,
Yeah.
helping out somewhere there. That way the other crew members get to know you, and then they're a little more amenable to being like, yeah, we got to get old Ish on here. Where's Ish?
Yeah.
That sort of thing, which is, and that's all, as you get a little older, those sort of relationships that you develop with these guys are going to be paramount to you, getting to the goal that you're trying to reach and everything, or at least get the experience to know whether or not you even want to continue doing it. That's the nice part, again, because at your age, you've got no commitments.
Yeah, you got nothing. Well, obviously you have stuff to lose, but like when you're at my age, all you can do is like learn.
Yeah,
and like just get better at things. So it's like, yeah,
right. And you still have the option to basically switch it up if you're thinking like, boy, this not
sucks.
Cool. I don't really like this.
Yeah.
I get seasick all the time. Then you can just bounce and go find something else.
Yeah,
it's there's sort of a trap that you see as you get older. People get into where they start either acquiring things or having families really early, and then all of a sudden they feel like they're sort of stuck.
Yeah,
because they've got a ton of responsibility, and I'm sort of the opposite of that. A lot of people describe me as like somebody who just is trying never to grow up.
Yeah,
but it's not. I don't think it's like that. I've always wanted to. I just the things that I do require me to sort of not have a whole lot of responsibilities.
Yeah,
because some of the places that I go on my trips, there's a good chance you might not come back, and I wouldn't want to leave anybody hanging.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's talk cell phones, bud.
All right.
Because I gotta say I'm actually impressed by how long you can sit there and look at that screen. So first question: what are you doing on that cell phone? Mostly
it's just watching TikTok. Like if I go on my screen time and then see all activity.
Yeah.
TikTok, I have 24 hours and 18 minutes on.
For the week?
Yeah.
Oh, my. 24 hours a whole day.
Yeah, and then Snapchat, I have 15 hours. And then the other big one is Pokemon Go is 6 hours and 55 minutes.
Well,
so, like, those are the three big apps that I use. But, like, yeah.
And I will say, I will give Pokemon Go a little bit of props because it does get you out there. Makes you active. Yeah, you're out there. You get some exercise and all that, even though half the time you're staring at your phone while you're walking down the street about ready to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
But no, it is, that's absolutely amazing. Now, here's a question for you. After you spend in a week 24 hours watching that, do you feel fulfilled or like, are you glad?
It's honestly like...
Is it time well spent, sir?
I feel like it's kind of sad. Well, I wouldn't say it's sad because, like, I've been around, like, screens, like, my whole life. Like, first time I've been around video games, like, my whole life. And I've always played video games. Like, I was so big on video games, and I still am. But, like...
Is it all games on the cell phone?
No,
or,
it's, like...
I know you have a PlayStation 4?
Yeah, I have a PlayStation 4, and I have a PC.
Right.
So it's, like, I play, like, a lot of games.
Yeah.
And it's, like... The phone too. It's like, it's just so much like that I can do.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting too, because so when you're playing, is there a lot of how much time is it you playing by yourself with your not so much like playing against yourself, but you're sitting in a room by yourself playing a game compared to you sitting in a room with other people with friends playing a game?
It's like I play by myself, but I play with my friends online.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. See, and because obviously, I mean, we got to see the birth of it. We saw Atari, Nintendo, all that stuff. So when I was your age, I mean, we used to play. I think at your age, for me, that was like Nintendo.
Probably 64.
Not quite. We were a little earlier than that. We had a thing called TurboGrafx.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty cool. But there would literally be 5 of us sitting in a room watching the TV, playing these games over and over again. So, in a way, it was kind of a social thing to do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely like not as definitely wasn't as big as it is now. Like
oh, not even close.
not even
Yeah,
close.
I mean,
but like
jeez.
that's an obvious thing. But like I was gonna say like it's back then it was like not a everyday like not a every kid thing. But like now it like every kid just
yeah.
has like a console or a computer or a phone. Like every kid has a phone.
Well, and is it the same where basically everybody your age has TikTok,
Oh, yeah.
has
Oh,
Snapchat?
TikTok is so big. So
TikTok
is
is
Snapchat.
I mean, I'm on TikTok.
Yeah, they both have like 1 billion or something downloads.
Can we shout out your TikTok thing
Yeah.
so people can check you out?
Yeah.
You don't post very much though, do you?
I only have one video. It's just
Okay.
It's just a funny video. It's my TikTok ad is Quirksy. It's QRKZY. Quirksy. I have 255 followers, but
Off of one video?
yeah.
Man, if I had that ratio. Well, I got onto it just because one of my younger cousins, he saw some of my videos and he said, "Listen, you got to put those on there. They're really funny." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I didn't think much of it because obviously I'm old. But after throwing a few on, yes, it definitely exploded. But I'd say sort of the content that I'm putting out from these trips is a little bit unique, I guess.
Yeah.
So who knows? You don't follow me though, do you?
No, I don't. I only follow my
Podcast is over.
I only follow like the people like. Well, obviously I know you in real life, but like
Yeah, right.
I only follow like 30 people, so it's like
Selective. You
Yeah.
don't even follow your dad.
no, I don't.
My
Like
goodness.
I only followed one
What kind of a
person.
son are you?
Like a month ago, I only followed one person.
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
started following everybody else.
It is
like, I felt
good, you
bad.
know, that given sort of reciprocation.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be following 10,000 people and then
No,
have like
no.
200 followers.
Well, I see that's the crazy thing. So I've enjoyed putting stuff up on TikTok because I see some of the reactions and comments that people put,
Mm-hmm.
and for the vast majority of it's all like sort of positive stuff, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
people ask a lot of good questions about how and why I do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty positive. But anytime I start scrolling through there, which is pretty rare, I must admit I pretty much just post content.
Yeah.
When I look at the other For You page stuff, I mean, it's like watching a car accident happen.
Yeah.
You can't take your eyes off of it, and you
Yeah.
keep scrolling.
TikTok
but
is so addictive.
you're just watching stuff like that if I was ever sitting and watching it on TV, I'd probably
Just
question
get bored.
everything about myself. Like,
Yeah.
why am I spending my time looking at
I don't know.
this?
I see like the weirdest stuff too. Like I remember the other day I saw like a bald eagle in the cage like making a sound. I don't know. It was so weird. Like why am I
pretty
so
random.
fascinated by this like animal squeaking? Like I don't get it.
Well, and I do know when I talk to anybody, even people my age, when they have it, they get into it and they say, they'll start scrolling and literally an hour will go by.
Yeah.
And they're, oh my gosh, they turn their phone off and they
Yeah.
run away from it. So I don't know. I think there's some benefit for that stuff. Look, he just checked his cell phone right there.
Yeah.
That's number one. Well, we're going to track you. But it is, they do say research sort of points to that stuff, cell phones and social media being addictive,
Yeah.
like straight up just like cigarettes or alcohol or any of that sort of stuff. So do you find you never want to have your cell phone too far away from you?
I always like sleep with it with me.
Yeah.
Like not sleep with it with me. Sleep with it on me.
Right.
Like I'm never like 5 feet away from it. It's always like in my pocket or like I'm just on it.
So if your cell phone were in the other building down there, would
Oh.
you be a little fidgety?
I would
sort of
be
like,
like-
what am I gonna?
I would be so bored.
Really.
I'm so attached to my phone. It's literally like I don't know, dude.
It's I don't know. This is what it just interests me so much because my relationship with a cell phone is to try to keep it unless I'm waiting for a call. I pretty much keep it either in my house if I'm at somebody's home, or I keep it on the boat. I never take it with me
Yeah.
because I grew up in the 80s, so there's none of that like, oh, you need a phone for emergencies, because we
Yeah.
didn't have those.
Right. Yeah.
And emergencies really typically don't happen where your cell phone's going to save you.
Right.
At least that's my opinion. Don't take that as safety advice.
Obviously, I'd call the cops with my phone, but like,
How many times have you called the cops with your phone?
I don't think I have.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. You gotta-
No. Well, but I think there was, and this is a little conspiratorial, I guess, but I think there was a big push when cell phones came out
Yeah.
where it was like, hey, parents, now your children can be safe because you can get them a cell phone.
Yeah.
And like I said, growing up in the 80s, we didn't have any of that, and it was
Yeah.
totally fine. And,
It must have been like so like weird to you guys, like your first call to your friend or something, like with your
Oh,
own
yeah.
cell phone.
I remember my first cell phone.
Like-
It was insane. I remember my first cell phone bill.
Yeah.
Back before all these crazy plans and stuff like that. It was about $280, and I
Are you
just
kidding me?
about died. I couldn't believe it. I remember
my
almost throwing the cell phone in the garbage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, it was pretty stupid. But
$300 for a cell phone bill.
yeah, just because I went over my minutes, and when you go
Oh.
over your minutes back then, it just was exponential how
Yeah.
expensive the bill got. And they didn't warn you. They didn't do anything because it barely even had a little screen on it. It was one of those old brick phones. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It is. It's really crazy just to sort of see people's relationship. What always amazes me, I think, more than anything, is when you walk into an airport
Yeah.
and literally 98% of the human beings in there all are looking
Yeah.
at their
Oh
phone.
yeah. They're literally all like sitting down, like obviously they can't see me, but they're all looking down on their phones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
And
just like they're so oblivious to everything around them. I'm being kind of a hypocrite here. Sorry for cutting you off, but like
oh no.
I'm so oblivious to like what's going on around me. Like I'll like be on TikTok or something, and I'll just like with my AirPods in, I'll just like cut out everything.
Yeah.
Like-
Like the whole world, things could be happening all around you that you
Like-
have no idea about.
It's weird.
And does that ever, besides somebody like some old guy like me grilling you about it, do you ever think about that sort of stuff?
I don't really think about it that much, if I'm being honest. But it's like it always goes through my head, like, damn, I'm on my phone a lot
All day,
today.
like, oh, what do you mean my battery's down to 20% again? What?
Yeah, that's that too. I'll be like, I'll plug it in the morning, and I'll just be on it, like, and we'll feel like 5 minutes, and it'll just be boom at 10%.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
right.
what just happened?
Dad, I burnt up another phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily with mine, I've got this is an original like iPhone 5,
Yeah.
and I that one you can replace the battery yourself
Yeah.
and all that. So I like to I have a sort of a new thing where I guess it's not a new thing, but where I will never buy a new cell phone. The world has billions of them.
Oh yeah.
We don't
There's,
need
like,
any more
Apple's
new ones.
like the biggest. Well, obviously Amazon's the biggest company, but
Apple's
Apple's probably
huge.
in
Yeah.
top 5, top 3. I'd
Well,
say.
and that's the thing is, there's no need to buy new cell phones because there's enough used ones for sale,
Right. Yeah.
and we might as well recycle
Yeah.
the cell phones because.
And they come out with a new one like every single year.
Well, and that's the thing. There's really like one of my friends. He just got some brand newish iPhone thing, and he's trying to brag to me about it. And I'm just
Yeah.
thinking to myself, why are
Yeah.
you that excited about your new phone? I was
It-
like, great.
Like, there's like only like 2 things that are like that separate like the old iPhones and like the new. Well, obviously there's more than that, but it's like the old iPhones are just slower, but it's like not even like a full second slower, maybe a full second, and it's like
A full second of what? Like loading a
yeah,
video?
like
Ugh.
it's just like oh my god, such
I
a
don't
big deal, and it's just like the camera's better, of course, but like that's don't really.
Camera's always better, but there's a point where the picture can't really,
Right.
your eyeballs cannot perceive the difference between a picture taken on one 5 years ago
Right,
and today.
of
Although I'm sure a
course.
lot of people are going to argue with me on that one, but oh well. I don't really care.
Your
I don't know. It
podcast.
is. It is fascinating to be able to sort of talk honestly with somebody your age that is definitely hooked into cell phones to such an extreme rate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's it's rather impressive
Yeah.
to see you in the morning when I go into work. And then after work, you literally haven't moved.
Oh my god.
That won't-
Making
that
my
won't
head
work.
hurt now. Cause like the same thing happens with video games. I'll just sit there, mouse and keyboard. I'll just sit there and just play for hours and hours and not even get hungry, tired.
Right.
Like-
Well, hey, though, at least with a video game, there is a perceivable goal. There's,
Right.
with social media, and
It's
stuff
just
like
hours
that,
of scrolling.
you're just scrolling and scrolling. You're basically, I mean, when it comes down to it, and this is the way I think about it when I'm doing it, is a minute will go by and I'll instantly think to myself, stop wasting time, go do something.
Yeah.
And so I'll just drop it and put it down and go. And the only time I really get into it is if I'm posting stuff on there and then get pulled in
Yeah.
by the beauty of the For You
Cell
page.
phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
I
No.
don't know. There's something so addicting about that For You page.
I know. Well, and it is. It's so crazy because for me, too, it was one of those things where cell phones got really popular when I was in college. And then shortly thereafter, I moved abroad. And then I was in the Caribbean for like a decade.
Yeah.
And down there, I didn't have to have a cell phone at work until the last couple of years. And it was a brick phone anyway. And we rarely ever had good internet where I worked. So things like YouTube were non-existent. I never got into them. So I had this 10 or 12-year lag behind everybody else. Don't worry, you can breathe.
I know. I was young.
That's a funny joke to do to somebody,
Yeah.
like one of your friends or something. You can give them a hug, and you sneak up right kind of behind them. You'd be like, you smell different when you're awake. People freak out when you do that. Somebody did that to me down in the Caribbean.
Oh
It
my
was so
God.
funny. I was dying laughing. Don't do that to strangers.
Oh my god.
You'll get
Ew.
arrested.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, so I guess we can move away from some of the social media stuff.
Okay.
Unless you have more stuff that you want to talk about
Well,
with
it's
it.
like, it's not really any more stuff that we already haven't covered.
Yeah.
It's just like, obviously we can go in more depth.
Yeah, give me some more.
depth, but like, it's just Snapchat too. Snapchat is like such a big app.
What
I've been on-
exactly is that? Because I'm not
Snapchat
familiar.
is like, it's like you can send pictures. Like, that's all people really do is like send pictures and like talk. It's like, it's basically SMS, like messages on an iPhone, but it's like a whole different app, and you can take pictures, and it's like exotic
okay.
filters, and like, it's just like you can post a story, and then people will look at the story, and then you can have so many friends on it.
So you have a network of friends.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's sort of like Instagram or Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
And then, but it's also communication like super quickly.
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah. Oh,
just
yeah.
like sending little messages. Because I mean, if you message somebody on Facebook, it's probably going to be a while before they reply to you.
Yeah.
But this is more like somebody sending you a text.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
so quick.
Yeah. So what's so addictive about that?
I don't know. It's just like there's so much like stuff you can do on Snapchat. Like you can post like anything you want,
Yeah.
like anything, and it's like Snapchat is so scary because it's so like social media is so fake.
Oh yeah.
Like the filters on there are so scary. Like they give you bigger lips, like more eyelashes, like hair differences, or like anything you can think of.
Don't they do that on TikTok too?
Yeah.
Isn't that why all the girls look like models?
Yeah, they use like filters and like
There's
they go in the
filters, yeah.
camera roll and like change everything.
Right.
Social media is so fake, and that's why it's like so scary to me. Because I guarantee, if you went to like Kylie Jenner's house, she would be so like ugly without all that makeup and like all those filters gone. That's the main reason why she's big, is because of like obviously the Kylie Jenner show and stuff, or Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Okay, I know that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were losing me there.
Yeah, it's like- I wouldn't say they're ugly, but it's just social media is so fake.
yeah. It is. It's a filtered reality,
Of course.
and it's obvious that it's what people are putting out, how they want people to see them, rather than just what they're like. I don't know. That's what kind of gets into my head is like, why would you feel the need to put out just your life online
Yeah.
for everybody to see? And this is coming from somebody who puts out a lot of content, like videos and
Right.
stuff about the sailing stuff. I don't know. I guess that's sort of a hypocritical thing to say,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, I initially started putting content out on YouTube at the request of people.
Yeah.
And so I just started putting together little clips from all my trips. And then that sort of steamrolled into a whole lot more, especially after the book came out. Because
Oh,
once
yeah.
the book came out, then all of a sudden I had something I'm trying to sell. And so putting content out there is kind of a way to, I suppose, share the voyage, but also to try and direct people and get them hooked in so that they'll go and buy the book. And
Yeah.
then I don't have to get a real job. But you can see how well that's working as I schlep 60-pound stands around this yard 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your dad does a good job of slanging those books for me.
Yeah. He's like,
It's quite impressive.
everybody talks to him. You want to buy this book?
Yeah, I
You
know.
want to read this book? It's like so funny.
See that boat over there? Hey, let me ask you this a little off topic. You don't sound like you have a Maine accent.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
deal
know.
with
It's,
that.
it's so weird.
You got to develop that if you live here, right?
I gotta get better with it.
Can you do one?
Yes, sir. I guess I can do one like
Can you do it like the whole time though?
the
Like
rest of the
from
podcast.
right now to the rest of the end of the podcast,
Uh,
all Maine accent. I can try mine.
I don't think I could.
Oh, come on, guy.
Yes, I do. It's like Maine. Like there's so many different like accents, and Maine is like the most exotic, weirdest
I
one
know,
because it's
right?
like
so cool.
everything like is just with a H on the end. It's like bada or
Bada.
like lobster or something like that.
I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
It's like everything has a H at the end.
Lobster guy.
Lobster guy. Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Oh, it's a great accent, though.
Yeah.
I think your dad's got a great one, but
Yeah.
I've never heard one quite like Heath.
Oh my God, Heath guy.
I'm hoping to get him on this podcast this weekend. 'Cause
Dude, that'd be so funny.
just the accent alone is well worth it.
Yeah.
But he plays the part, that's for sure. Oh man. Ah, well, you think your accent would develop though
Oh yeah.
as you get older?
It definitely
especially-
like by the time I'm like 50, it would be like Dad's.
Oh yeah. The more you spend time around the fishermen and stuff like that, who knows?
Right.
You could become a lobster boat captain
Yeah.
and save enough money and then buy your own boat.
Right.
And then buy a second boat, and then you got a captain, and all of a sudden you're a commodore.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's even though Heath's dad still goes out, I mean, geez, he's at the absolute top echelon of being
Yeah.
a fishing
Oh,
boat
yeah.
captain. Crazy. Well, what else? What else should we talk about, man? Well, I got you here. Interesting.
Oh, I'll tell you about my like friends, I guess.
Yeah, please
I
do.
can talk to you about my friends. So like, me and my friends are going to the Lobster Fest next year.
Yeah.
If obviously they probably don't know what a Lobster Fest. Well, I don't know who listens to your podcast,
Anybody?
but I'm guessing it's like
everybody.
people from Michigan, or like your mom probably listens
It's
to it.
actually people all over the place. So
Oh, really?
do tell. Lobster Fest, because we're Rockland, Maine is. Your dad always says that Rockland, Maine is the lobster capital of the
Oh
world.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
true?
It's that is true.
That's their slogan?
Yeah, it's
Or that's,
definitely
like-
it's facts.
Fact. Lobster capital of the world, people, right here, sitting
Yeah.
on it. All right, what's the Lobster Fest?
It's basically like a fair, but it's like it is a fair actually. It's a fair, but they just call it the Lobster Fest. There's many posters about it, like here, there, everywhere,
Yeah.
and they have like very weird stuff. I'd say
Like what?
they have like it's like a competition where you run on like traps on the water. It's like how many traps you can walk over on the water, you win. I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
What are
so
they
weird.
floating somehow?
Yeah, they're floating.
Oh, okay. What,
Yeah.
they stuff them full of like styrofoam?
I feel like I don't
Something
know.
like that.
yeah.
Have you ever done it?
No, I haven't never done
You gonna
it.
do it? Oh, it's
feel
not
like I
going on
will.
this year, is it?
No, it's
Yeah.
going on next year.
Yeah.
I'm going with my friends next year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So, tell us about these friends. They good kids?
Yeah, they're like, it's I know people that are like so bad because like this modern day like teenager are like they smoke like
It's a little
vape
different.
at like 12 and like 13.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so like it just makes me so sad.
Well, and I mean, we basically when I was younger had to deal with it was basically cigarettes.
Yeah, they smoke cigarettes too.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
And
literally
now-
like a 12-year-old smoking cigarettes or like 11-year-old smoking cigarettes.
or vaping.
Vaping
Is everywhere, huh?
oh my god. Like Jewel, like around middle school, Jewel, like there would be like people selling like pods and chargers like in the bathrooms.
Now don't give up on anybody, bud.
Yeah.
We don't need a rat in town, huh?
I'm not saying I'm
No,
not gonna
I-
say their name, of
Just
course.
from your experience, yeah.
But of course, yeah.
Well, and then obviously, I know Maine's been hit pretty hard by the opioid epidemic and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm from a small little town in Michigan, and then spent most of my time on a small little island in the Caribbean where these things weren't an issue at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't lock our keys. We don't take our keys out of our cars. We don't lock our houses, things like that. And coming to Maine was the first time I ever really got to experience,
Oh yeah.
people who are sick and need to find and steal things to buy opioids, I guess.
Yeah. Maine, from my experience at least, I feel like Maine is like really big on like that drug stuff,
Yeah.
like opioids and stuff. Because like Portland, you'll go outside and you'll like see crackheads like everywhere.
Yeah, and you just don't think. I mean, at least I never thought of Maine as like that, but you get here and all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah, Maine is definitely like they call it the vacation like state or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely it has good places. Oh yeah,
It is
has
a big
very pretty
tourist industry.
has
yeah.
very pretty places. But like if you go to like Lewiston or like not South Portland, but like anywhere
Wiscasset.
Wiscasset, like Portland, like you'll just see like druggies everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Homeless people just on drugs.
Well, and when you see that sort of stuff, is that a pretty decent example of what not to do, or is that like, oh, I wonder what they're doing? Let me try.
No, I definitely don't want to be on like drugs, but like
That's good.
um
But yeah, what's your take when you see that at your age? I know what it is at my age, and I've lived half my life already.
yeah. It's like especially like how young they're getting. Cuz like back then it would be like 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds. Now it's like 20-year-olds and like really young
Teenagers,
teens,
yeah.
really young teens like out on the streets like on hardcore drugs. It's like
Phew.
so scary to me.
Yeah, me too. Unbelievable.
Cuz like I hate to say it, but like I see my friends going down that road
Yeah.
because they smoke weed all the time and just drink all the time. I could definitely see like one of my friends asking me for money for drugs in the near future. I definitely see it.
And what would you say?
I would say no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Would you ever feel like you would sit down and if you saw one of your really good friends really going down that road, would you ever sit down with them and be like,
I
hey
would.
man, what's going on here?
I would definitely say something to them, but like if they're like smoking weed at this age, I can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I'll say like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I'll just be like, you smoke now, or like it's just a new thing all the time, and it's kind of really sad
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like there's a really good friend of mine that I've known since like second grade, and he just recently started smoking. It's like, yikes.
Yeah, well, and then they go off and they want to hang out with other friends that do that,
And do
so
worse
you
stuff.
don't get to hang out with them as much.
Right.
I mean, I could still remember in 8th grade, one of my best friends started smoking weed and suddenly never hanging out with me anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember even being at a point where I was like, hey, I'll try it. I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, which I guess was kind of cool that they basically said no. But I basically lost one of my best friends.
due to like that stuff.
Yeah, it was a little different for me because I knew I was going to a different high school and stuff like that. So I was sort of like, meh,
Yeah.
scrape off, buddy, whatever.
Yeah.
But in high school, I was pretty into sports, mostly like track and stuff like that. And I can remember the first and second year, a couple of my good buddies were also on the track team and everything. And so we used to spend like the winter, and we'd not training, but we'd try and do exercise and running and stuff because the goal was when track season started in the spring, we could really go and kick some ass, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember one of my best friends then, I think it was sophomore or junior year, started smoking weed all the time. And so he dropped out from doing any of the preseason stuff. And he sucked ass that whole season. And I was just like, man, because I don't know. I guess I don't think I was lame, I guess, in high school.
No, you were smart.
I think I was, well, I mean, I wasn't like a goody or anything like
Right.
that, but I didn't drink and I didn't really
No.
do drugs or anything
I feel
like
like
that.
I feel like if I went to a party, I would try because just for the experience, I would probably like. Obviously, I wouldn't try like meth or cocaine. I would.
Yeah,
I would
oh,
definitely
yeah.
like. I'd definitely like. I don't know though. If I would actually like drink, I would probably smoke. I would definitely wouldn't drink because of the like past that I have of like experience of drinking.
Right.
Oh my god, it's so scary to me.
The past. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things where there's no rush. I think I told you before, the first time I'd had a few beers, when I was a teenager, but I didn't have my first drink, like cocktail sort of thing, until I was 21.
Yeah.
And I was really glad because, like I said, I knew a lot of people that sort of got into it early when you don't really know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden it sort of takes hold, and it affects the chain of events of your life from that point forward.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, then it doesn't affect. I mean, if you don't do it, then you still have all these different options because you're not getting hooked in and sent down one certain path.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously people are always going to experiment and things like that, which I don't recommend. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where I know for a lot of people, it's so enjoyable to do it that first bunch of times that just sends them right down the wrong road.
Yeah, it's definitely like once you get addicted, there's like no way to stop.
Well, that's a whole, and I think isn't that why a lot of the harder drugs are such a problem? Is that
It's because like it's such a
I'm
like
addicted.
once you get addicted, it's like so like there are 4 stages of addiction. I'm pretty sure it's like there's 1 and it's just 1 is like experience, and then 2 is like continued use, and then 3 is dependent, and then 4 is addicted.
Yeah.
So it's like 1 I feel like is like just your first time like smoking, not a big deal really. Well, obviously it's a big deal, but like if you just smoke once and like you're done, you're good. Like you just do it for the experience. But like if you continue to do it like every single day, like smoke a bowl every single day, like, and then you're gonna start doing it more. And like if that's like weed, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I don't think weed is
here
bad.
in the great state of Maine, totally legal. You
Yeah.
can grow it, you can have it, you can smoke
I
it.
feel like weed is good for you. I don't think I'll do it, but like if it wasn't like weed and it was like meth or something, like, and you went
Whole
through
different
all
ballgame. Yeah.
all of those stages of addiction, it would be like
your
so
life
devastating.
is basically going to be
Gone.
ruined. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I think I mean I think that's a pretty decent outlook on it, and just to not like blindly roll into that sort of stuff and actually think about it is kudos to you at your age. Because how old are you again? 15?
15, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, geez, prime of your life. God, just a pup. Yeah. Oh man, whole thing in front of you, bud.
Yeah.
Don't screw this up. No, because the only addiction I ever fell into was smoking cigarettes. I started when I was probably 17 or 18 and continued, and it got to the point where, especially with sailing offshore and stuff, I was getting to the point where I was smoking 2 packs a day, and I thought, no way in hell am I ever going to be able to quit. And I smoked for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And I hope that it has not already killed me, like ticking time bomb, but I was able to finally quit. I don't know. It's almost been a year, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it was only using little vape things to be able to sort of wean myself off, and now I'm sort of hooked on these vape things. But
Yeah.
compared to cigarettes, these will be a heck of a lot easier for me to actually just one day be like, no.
Yeah.
Because I almost, during the day here, now I chew sunflower
Tobacco.
seeds.
Oh, sunflower seeds.
Yeah. And I'll find that I don't even hit these things at all if I'm doing that.
Yeah, there's
So,
also like nicotine is like really easy to like stop smoke, like not stop doing, but like cigarettes are easy to stop doing because there's like other things that you can do, like you can use nicotine pads or like nicotine gum without even smoking cigarettes, like, and you'll still get the same like outcome of it.
Right. Well, and I think for me especially, a lot of it is the act. Oh, excuse me, the act of doing it. That's
Yeah.
what I like, and it's the same with drinking, having cocktail hour, stuff like that. I find now that I'm older, like with those White Claws and stuff,
Yeah.
I basically, when I drink those, I cut them 50-50 with club soda just because I enjoy the act of drinking it more than I enjoy how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
It's not like when I was younger, I was like, I'm feeling buzzed up and all that. And then there's a point where you realize you're like, that's not really the fun part for me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But hey, we're already at 50 minutes right now.
Holy
So I
crap.
want to just spend the last little bit talking about any future plans for the old Ish, so that when we do this 5 years from now, you got anything up your sleeve? Any goals? Anything? I know I asked you this the other day, and you just said I want to be a fisherman. When I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? But any sort of game plan? Any goals? Any passions? Things like that?
I feel like my goal for the next 5 years is to be successful in high school, complete high school.
Smart. There you go.
Definitely number one is complete high school. Number two, get better for myself and the way I look, and like just better.
Well,
Like,
now when you say that, because I sort of glanced over that earlier, but what do you mean the way you look?
I don't know. It's just like,
What don't you like? And that, I mean, across the board, people will point out 100 faults for every one compliment that they give
Yeah, I
themselves.
feel
That's
like-
human nature.
my acne is really bad.
What?
My acne is so bad.
You have lovely skin.
No.
It's not bad. I used to have lots of zits and stuff like that, man. That's just like a little couple of year chunk where you just go through that.
Yeah, but that's definitely number two. Number three is probably spend less time on the cell phone
There we go.
and get better with fishing and stuff like that. Like spend less time on this and like be more productive with myself.
Yeah,
'Cause,
well,
like
and
now, because this podcast happened, like I realized how like
your screen time is
addictive.
dropping, bro. You're gonna have to like stay up late tonight on that thing and keep it up.
no, it's crazy because like 10 hours
Yeah,
on my phone.
Well, I would say those are definitely some pretty good goals.
Yeah,
I think the number one really there is the number one,
Yeah.
and that is do well in school and really punch that out. It's probably your old man. You can let him in. Who we got out there? Oh, it's old Murph.
Good
Be-
evening, sports fans.
We've been getting into it, bud. We're wrapping it up.
I'm glad. I will not say another word.
All right, sounds good. He's soaking wet. He's been so kind to let us use the shack. Well, I think it's
My shack is your shack.
there. We go.
I'm not talking.
No more talking. I think that is probably the smartest thing, because when you do that in school, you are basically going to give yourself more and more options.
yeah.
And when you don't do that in school, you're taking all your options away.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to finish high school before I like.
Oh my gosh! See, now Murph's in here.
Stop
He's
it,
just
Dad.
stealing the show.
Okay,
Ah, jeez. Oh, jeez.
it's definitely finishing high school number one.
Yeah.
Because like there's so many more opportunities and jobs you can get if you finish high school
Yep.
than like to be a dropout. Because if you
Well,
drop out of high school,
And if you do really well, you never know. You can get a scholarship, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you can go to college for free.
oh yeah,
Yeah. No, there's a ton, man. Well, I think those are all good goals, my friend. Look at no, he's saying none of the smokes, bud. All right, Murph. Now that you're ruining the end of this podcast, what a lovable
So
father.
annoying.
No, it is. I'll tell you what. It's pretty funny watching two of you together. Holy cow! Holy cow!
fun.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It's pretty much impossible for Murph not
It's
to talk.
so annoying.
Ish,
Oh my-
I'm going to give you the last couple minutes to talk about your dad. How's that sound?
All right.
I think that's a good one. And you, Murph, can't say a thing. Go.
Okay, so
Oh, you're not gonna hear a word out of me.
my dad is so loud. He's so annoying. He does a lot for me. I love him to death.
Yeah, he's pretty cool,
I-
right?
He's definitely he's
World's greatest dad.
Can you stop?
How close are you to actually taking care of him rather than him taking care of you?
Very close.
Yeah, that tipping point is almost reached and breached.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
100%. 100%.
Well, Ish, I can't thank you enough for coming on
Thank you
and
so
just
much. This was
shedding some light on some of that stuff. It really is pretty amazing, and I've wanted to talk to somebody about that who's in your generation for a while.
Yeah.
So I have to say thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoy the podcast and want to support it, just go to podbean.com and you can become a patron and keep the show on the air. Also, if you like the music at the beginning, the album is called Deep Teal and the artist is Adrian Edson. It's available on Amazon Music. And if you want the full story of the trip around the world, the book, the Kindle book, and the audiobook can all be found on Amazon.com. Sailing into Oblivion, the solo nonstop voyage of the mighty Sparrow. Fair winds and following seas.